Hi, everyone. We're going to get started in just a minute. We're going to wait for a few more people to be let in from the waiting room and get settled. Okay. It looks like we have let in everybody who is waiting. And if there's anybody else, we'll be happy to go ahead and let you in. Welcome, everyone, to our prior learning assessment webinar. My name is Sheila Gold. I'm the Executive Director of Recruitment and Admissions at Tulane SOPA, and I am joined by my colleagues. Ann Conlon is in the background running this webinar and the slides. Dalila is with us. She's the program director for the prior learning assessment coordinator. And then Amanda Hassan is with us, and she's our director of academic advising. So between the three of us, we're going to tell you a little bit about our school, about our prior learning assessment program, and how you might get some of your credits transferred over to SOPA, and then just some general admissions information at the end. If you have any questions during the webinar, please put them in the chat function down at the bottom. Anne is going to send us a little chat in a second just to welcome everybody so that you can see where the chat function is. And we'll probably have a minute or two at the end to answer some questions. Of course, if we don't get to your question, you can always reach out to us after the webinar. We love getting emails and talking to prospective students. So just a little bit about SOPA. SOPA is one of the schools at Tulane University. SOPA stands for the School of Professional Advancement, but we like to call it SOPA because it's shorter and cuter and easier to remember. But what's really interesting about the School of Professional Advancement is that it was one of the very first schools that Tulane University started after the university itself opened up. The university was founded in 1834 as the Medical College of Louisiana. Before it was Tulane, it was the Medical College of Louisiana, and it actually started in response to the yellow fever epidemic here in Louisiana, which is a little bit timely considering we are in another epidemic here in current times. So Tulane is sort of always been in the forefront, and we are back at the forefront of current issues. Shortly thereafter, they started the School of Continuing Studies with the mission to reach out to our local students and offer education, adult education to working adults. And that is somewhat our mission today. So for those of you who are looking to have prior credits assessed, that's probably because you've been working or you have some prior school experience and you're looking to balance school and work. That is what we do, and we've been doing it since the 1880s. We do it in several ways. Quite often, we offer online classes. Another way that SOPA has been in the forefront, before COVID hit, not everybody knew about online learning, or they had sort of like ideas about online learning as being maybe something different from the classroom experience. At SOPA, we have been doing online learning for years, and we are really, really good at it. We have professional educators who literally take in-classroom instruction and they figure out how to translate that to the online format. And they have degrees in doing that. And they create a really incredible experience that's very interactive. You get to know your professors, you get to know your fellow students, and you leave with a really good education. Our program and faculty are second to none. They are also mostly practitioners in their field. So as opposed to having faculty who are like on a college campus all the time, most of our faculty are actually, they work in the field in which they teach. So they're professionals, and they can help our students make professional connections and get jobs, which is always important come graduation. Our student support, which you'll hear a little bit from Amanda later, our student support, I think, is actually the best on Tulane's campus. And I actually have 3 degrees from Tulane, so I know a lot about different parts of the university. Our advisors love our students. They work with our students, and they are committed to having our students graduate. That's a big commitment, right? We're not just committed to getting students in the front door, but we're also interested in getting them over the finish line. And we'll work with you to make sure that that happens. And then a little bit about Tulane SOPA is that we actually are priced a little bit differently than the rest of the university. Part of our mission is to make Tulane affordable for our community and for working adults that have other financial commitments, such as work, raising families, maybe owning a home. And so we are really committed to lowering our tuition in a way that people can make an investment in their education, but also be able to balance that with other commitments. So I am going to turn this program over to my other colleagues, and I'll talk to you all a little bit more at the end.
Thanks so much, Sheila. And I just wanted to say welcome to everybody that's joining us today. I'm excited to talk to you more about prior learning assessment and SOPA specifically. And then also once you have any questions, either during this webinar or if you have any questions that follow afterwards, feel free to reach out to me directly, and then I'd be happy to talk to you more. So broadly, as Sheila mentioned, our school attracts a lot of people who have significant experience, either professionally or in the community. And these experiences have the potential to align with courses that we already offer. So you may find yourself taking classes or signing up for classes and then noticing that, I already know this. I have experience in this. I've done this as part of my job for the past 10 years. And is there a way that I can get credit for this experience that I already have? So credit for prior learning can be awarded for learning outside of the classroom, which includes work experience, community service, and then we also award credit for military training. Our prior learning program is a little bit different for undergraduate students and graduate students. For undergraduate students, you are eligible to earn up to 24 credits through either portfolio assessment, examination, or military training. The total of all of your prior learning experience, prior learning credits and transfer credits cannot exceed 60 credit hours. So out of those 60, 24 can come from prior learning credits. And then prior learning assessment credit does not count towards the residency requirement and may also not be transferable to other schools at Tulane. So if you're planning to transfer and you're bringing in prior learning credits, the school that you're transferring to will still have to reevaluate that credit, and they may not accept it. And then for graduate students, you're able to earn up to six credits through portfolio assessments and have that count towards your degree. So now we'll talk a little bit more about the different types of credit that you can earn. We accept credit by examination, which are basically standardized tests that you can take in specific course areas. So we accept CLEP credits, DSST credits, and then also language proficiency testing. CLEP and DSST are usually offered in sort of introductory subject areas, such as, for example, Introduction to American History or World History. And those are taken through at testing centers within the city. And then if you score at a certain level and above, you would receive credit for that course that's offered at Tulane as well. Language proficiency testing, if you are proficient in a language other than English, you might be able to receive credit through the Tulane Language Center. And you would sit for a proficiency exam. And if you score at I think like upper intermediate level or above, you would receive credit for that course level in that particular language. And then another form of prior learning assessment that we offer is portfolio assessment. And I think we'll spend most of the time today talking about this form of assessment. Um, and basically, this is the type of assessment that's really focused on your previous experience. So if you have work experience that can transfer or align with the courses that we offer, this is probably the form of assessment that would be the most relevant to you. We can go to the next slide. So the way that the students would participate in this process is that you would start with by taking a course. So this course would teach you how you can use that experience that you've accumulated over the years and align it with a course that SOPA offers. Undergraduate students would register for a full semester course, and graduate students would enroll in a self-guided course that's a 0 credit hour class. Both of them are offered online. The next step would be to complete the course, or to in this course you would be looking to see how your experience aligns with the courses that SOPA offers. You would work with your advisor to see how those credits would fit into your degree. So for example, making sure that you're not, for example, exceeding those 60 credit hours that you're transferring in, and also making sure that the courses that you do have experience in would actually count towards your degree. After completing the course, you would then finish your portfolio and then submit that portfolio for evaluation and assessment in order to see if you can be awarded credit for that class. So now we'll talk about this a little more to kind of go through the specifics of the process and what this actually would look like. So we can go to the next slide. So the first step is the portfolio development class. You have to complete this class first before you can develop a portfolio and submit it for assessment. For undergraduate students, this course is listed as PAPL 1000. It is 3 credits. It counts as a general elective. And the prerequisites are that you have to have taken and completed English 1010 before enrolling in the class. The tuition for the course is the same as your tuition for any other 3 credits that you're taking, but it also includes 3 portfolio assessments. So within the tuition for this class, you can also then complete 3 different portfolios for 3 different classes. So ultimately you could earn up to 12 credits for the cost of 1. For graduate students, you would be taking a similar course, but it's a little more condensed, and it's not for credit. The cost for this class is $1,000, and it includes 1 portfolio assessment. If you would like to complete another portfolio, that would be an additional $450. So what does a portfolio look like? What does it mean to create a portfolio? So for each portfolio, you are first identifying a class that would be aligned with your previous experience. So for example, if you've been working in information technology for 15 years, you may find courses in our information technology program that are very specifically related to the things that you've been doing. So first you would select a course in which you have experience. And these the courses that are eligible for portfolio assessment are the classes offered in our applied programs. So information technology, digital design, kinesiology, homeland security, and general legal studies for undergraduate students. And for our graduate students, we're also going to be adding courses in the MPA program as well. Courses that are excluded include anything that has experiential learning as a component, so things like internships, labs, and then also most of the humanities and liberal arts courses are not included in the portfolio assessment process. And each portfolio is a written narrative. So for example, if you, again, choose that information technology class, you will be submitting a narrative that describes your previous experience and how you've actually mastered each of the learning outcomes or each of the learning expectations that you would be expected to meet if you were to take that class. So this narrative ends up being similar to like a final paper that you're doing in a course, and they can be, as you know, about 15 to 25 pages long. They usually include documents, supporting documentation that illustrates, for example, how you've accomplished something in your work experience, any certifications that you've earned. You can also attach those as well in order to support your narrative that describes your previous experience. So for example, we have a list of course of learning outcomes for a kinesiology course, gender-based issues in health. So if you were to take this course, by the end of the class, you will have met all of these learning objectives through your readings and your assignments. And if you happen to have experience in working in gender-based issues in health, then you would consider these learning outcomes and see, am I able to write about each one of these outcomes and relate them to my previous experience? So if you can look through all of the outcomes and say, yes, I have examples for each one, I can describe how I've done this in my previous experiences. I have documentation that I can add. I can talk about the presentations I've done on gender-based issues in health, or I've received certificates that focus specifically on gender issues in health. Then this might be a good course for you to create a portfolio for and see if you can earn credit for it through portfolio assessment. In order to receive credit, you have to demonstrate mastery of each one of those learning outcomes. So if you find yourself being able to maybe write about 3 or 4 of them, but not exactly all of them, we would not recommend that you go through the whole process, because in that case, you would likely not receive credit for it. And we can go to the next slide now. So once you complete your portfolio, it would be submitted for assessment to a SOPA faculty member. It's usually a faculty member who specializes in that area, and typically teaches those classes as well. And our assessors use a standardized rubric, and the portfolios are evaluated based on both content and style. The content, again, is it focuses on that narrative and ensuring that you're addressing all of the learning outcomes for the class. And the style is kind of a smaller portion of the assessment process, but they're still looking at your formatting and citation, that you're following citation guidelines, grammar, and things like that as well. So a passing score on a portfolio would be added to a transcript as a credit for that class. So for example, if you submitted a class for that gender-based issues in health course, if you are recommended to receive credit, it would show up on your transcript as credit for that particular class. And I will now pass it on to Amanda, I think.
Yes.
And if you guys have any questions, just feel free to write them in the chat, or you can save them for the end of the presentation as well.
Yeah, so, this webinar has a mixture of students who are already currently enrolled in SOPA, and then some who are interested in applying. So for you that are interested in applying is very simple. You just go to the Tulane website to sopa.tulane.edu and apply. The application is very simple, but if you need any help with anything, we have folks ready to stand by and help you fill out the application step by step if you need it. The application fee for undergrad is $40 and for grad is $50. But for joining this webinar, your application fee will be waived. Make sure that you have a clearly legible government ID ready to upload. Make sure it's clear and that it is legible, that we can see it and identify that it's you very easily. And have all of your transcripts sent to us either directly from your former institutions, or if they can send it electronically directly from them to us. It's usually the easiest way to do it and the quickest process as well. So there's a couple of deadlines. For spring, it's January 1st, and for next summer, it's May 15th. So it's you still have a lot of time to apply, but you should apply early so that the earlier you apply, the earlier you can be accepted and the earlier you can register for classes. And something that we have new for a new initiative that we're doing is we have an early enrollment scholarship. Undergraduates who enroll in courses by the following dates can be eligible for a one-time $200 scholarship. So again, registering early for classes helps you to save some money. So the deadline for the spring is December 1st. For summer is May 1st. And for next fall is June 1st. We will also be having some registration webinars to help you walk through the registration process before registration starts. So that way you can get all this done early and be eligible for a scholarship. We'd like to, again, thank you for coming. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. And if you want to, wait, you can also contact Dalila or Sheila or even myself, and we'll be happy to answer any questions you have.
Yes, the grades that are posted for both the prior learning, the undergraduate prior PAPL 1000 class, they're pass fail. The grades for your portfolios are posted as credit by examination. So I think it's listed as just CRE.
CR.
TR. So they don't actually count into your GPA. Yes, the credits count. If we have already hit our 60 transfer credit limit, can we cancel one of those transfer credits and replace it with this assessment? I think that's an Amanda.
So I would say yes and no. I would carefully kind of go over that with your academic advisor before doing that. Depending on what credits you came in with and where they're applying in the curriculum, you want to, if there's anything that you are applying as general elective credit, we can remove it if you want to take the prior learning. So that is fine. There is a way to do it, but we do need to make sure that we are careful about the process and which classes we do that for. So it would be a case-by-case basis, but it is possible, yes. So yes, so your transfer credits and prior learning, they both count towards your degree regardless. It's just that some courses can apply towards your core curriculum or your distribution requirements. Some may apply for the major, but those that are general elective credits are the ones that you can eliminate if you want to do that, yes. If you already have an associate's and a likelihood. Well, it depends. If you already have an associate's degree and you want to transfer those credits in, yes. I mean, it really wouldn't make sense to eliminate a lot of the classes that you already took for your associate's degree because it did apply to towards your degree. But if there's any credit for some reason, there are times where, you know, there may be one class or two classes that may not be transferable. If that's the case, then we can replace that with the PLA credits. Any other questions? We thank you guys very much for coming. And again, please don't hesitate to reach out.
Thanks, everyone.